I think it's 1:45. I think I'd just like to throw it open to the floor, if I may, for 5 or 10 minutes. If you've got any questions for Jeff, Simon or Nick, now is the time. And John Paul's got the microphone. Any questions, please? Or any comments?
Steve, was there a kind of very contemporary human narrative in it? Was there anything from present day users of the park, or was it just from kind of times of colonisation, etc.?
There was a master plan that was done of the park in 2007, and I sort of used the design strategies that they proposed based on their analyses within the context of a sort of critique of traditional forms of spatial analysis in architecture. So in that sense, I was preoccupied with that, but I didn't, as I said, I didn't go there, I didn't meet anyone, I didn't talk to anyone. I was only really navigating the park through its documentation, and that definitely popped up, and I used that as a sort of tool for inquiry. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I'm just general interest, really. So the final stage of the project was you were looking at design professionals' response to that part, and I suppose if I could ask one further question if I've got time, had they done any analysis of the kind of historical geography of the park?
That's sort of, I actually got that documentation first from a public artist who was doing a project there, and if anything it was sort of encouragement to keep going. I didn't choose the park and then write the dissertation. I sort of was just researching on the side, got to a certain point and realised I've got to write my dissertation about this, and that started with that documentation from the public artist, which had the master plan from a firm which was just so schematic. It just cut through all of the sort of the poetry and the meaning that I found embedded in the narratives that sort of spun out from the park. And that was
there's a street in Dublin which was renamed in the course of the Dublin Docklands development project. It was a street named Misery Hill, and it was the street from which the found ships left the Docklands. And the development authority couldn't live with the name in their new world, in their happy world. So Misery Hill has been rubbed out. You could go back and rename it.
Yeah.
And maybe Nick could go with you.
Okay, I'll just take one more question and then I think we must conclude.
I think that these 3 projects are just absolutely wonderful. And I think that there's a really strong common theme, which is to do with land and expropriation. And I think that's really, really interesting. And I think that Nick's one, in a way, while it's the sort of the least realistic, is also the most imaginative. And I think that identification of place and the trails of others with what you will do as an architect is just really wonderful. And what we've heard is the imaginary musings of the meaning of place. And I just like to thank everyone. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Message to conclude on. So thank you to all 3 of you for making the presentation and just congratulations, of course, on your success. Thank you to Alexandra, David, Sheila and John. Thank you all for coming. Always a great highlight in a presidential year. Thank you very much again. Thank you.